Hello and welcome everyone to the Universal Peace Federation. My name is Ray LaPalkin. The Universal Peace Federation is an international and interreligious network of individuals and organizations, including representatives from religion, government, civil society, and the private sector, and we're dedicated to achieving world peace. An NGO in general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, UPF supports the work of the United Nations, particularly in the areas of interfaith peace building, peace education, and the strengthening of marriage and family. Our program today is titled The Search for Fairness as the Means to Peace in Global Relations. And it's in global relations, but of course we can always apply that to our local, state, national situation as well, because of course we can all give many examples of unfairness we see in society and in our world today. So the speakers today, the first speaker is Dr. Albert Celozar, and he's the executive director of Arizona's Interfaith movement. And he speaks on values that are needed to create a peaceful society. And the second speaker is Dr. Grace Selover, and she's the executive secretary of the Professors World Peace Academy. So this is a webinar that was recently held by Universal Peace Federation, so please enjoy it.
Welcome everybody for this new webinar on universal value, the search for fairness as the means to peace in global relations. It's a project sponsored by the IAAP, the International Associations of Academicians for Peace, which is a group under the Universal Peace Federation of UPF. And this is a very interesting topic, universal values, and mostly we talk about relative values, but are there any universal values? We have a candidate here on the table today about rules of reciprocity, like the Golden Rule. They challenge us to go beyond random and egocentric behavior, to be intentional. And we wonder what is required for such thinking to be normative for a new peaceful age. And the first one to weigh in on this issue is Dr. Albert Celozar. He is the executive director of the Arizona Interfaith movement. And he's a long and distinguished career of achievements include having served as faculty in world religions and political science since the 1980s at the Phoenix College, Thunderbird School of Global Management, and the Arizona State University. He's also a faculty of the Brandeis University ENACT, the Educational Network for Active Civic Transformation, the International Center for Ethics, Justice, and Public Life. And he has given classes and chaired the session for nonviolence at the Franciscan Renewal Center here in Arizona, in Phoenix area, in Scottsdale actually, and has been the president for the United Nations Association in Phoenix and Arizona. He is currently board president of the Asian Pacific Community in Action. Among his many published works is the book Ferdinand Marcos and the Philippines, The Political Economy of Authoritarianism. He's married and proud father of two grown daughters. So without further ado, kindly unmute Dr. Celozar. The floor is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Am I projecting, Dr. Berg?
You're good. You're good.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your very kind introduction. And this is really very, very important a question of universal values. What this has prompted me to do is to think about those things that what we are about as human beings, as human societies. So I think the age of enlightenment, beginning in the 17th century, has focused on a number of things, but I think one key thing is the recognition of the human person, the human individual, that the human individual has some inalienable rights, and that the human being is the purpose and the human flourishing of society is done through the individual. So as such, beginning in the 1600s, the 17th century, there has been much talk or beginnings about the talk about rights. Individuals have rights. Individuals have rights, and they need their rights to be protected in order for them to be a vital part of society. So I recognize that. And also around the 1600s, there's the beginning of the era of the nation state. People are bunched together into a society, into a country. And so beginning in the 1600s, people begin to owe their loyalty to countries and become citizens rather than subjects of kings and emperors. They become citizens of countries. So as such, we began with rights. And so in the 1700s, with the revolutionary era in the United States and in France, you have the recognition of the rights of people. But it seemed to me that in the 21st century, we need to also look into the other side of rights, and that is our obligation. And so I think this is what I connected with in terms of the universal values. So what do I mean by obligations? So a book came out. The book is entitled The Bill of Obligations by Richard Haas. And Richard Haas came up with a number of obligations that hopefully will give us as citizens a way by which we could respect the values of us living in a society. So I will briefly allude to them and then yield to our moderator, Dr. Berg. So the first thing is to be informed. It's very important to be informed because we impact other people, we impact society. We might as well be informed about what is going on, about the history of our society. The other thing is beyond being informed. Number two is to be involved. We impact others. We have an influence on other people. And so we need to get involved positively. And I think the golden rule has doing the good turn, being kind and doing the good turn to others is very important. Number three, Richard Haas says, stay open to compromise. Each of us are asserting our rights. Each of us, however, have to also be open to responsibilities. And we can only do that if we are open to compromise with other people. Now, one thing that has been alluded to in the introduction is that I've been involved in peace building. And so I think we need to remain civil. We need to, in relation to that, reject violence. Violence as a way of forcing other people to get our way. And then the next step, according to Haas, is to value norms. What are norms? Well, being nonviolent is a norm. Being peaceful is a norm. Rejecting violence, promoting peace, that's a norm. And then I think there is one other norm that is being promoted, and that is promoting the common good, which really comes out in terms of a compromise. What do you think is good for you? What do you think is good for society? So it's not about that's what's good for me, it's also what's good for society. And then the last three obligations he said are to respect government. I think in general, I'm referring to American society, people have very low respect or consideration for people who work for government. However, government is that mechanism whereby we gather together, we talk to each other, and we establish consensus. And so, second to the last, we need to support the teaching of civics. What do you mean by civics? Well, civics means values. Civics means our obligation to each other as a civil society. You know, there's that famous statement from Aristotle, man is a political animal. Now, it doesn't mean that we are bad. No, what that means is we belong to a society and we have values that we need to respect and we need to uphold in order for us to be peaceful and considerate of each other. And so I think with that introduction, values are very important. We need to be very intentional what our values are. The value of peace is very important. The value of nonviolence, not hurting others, the value of the common good, the value of remaining civil, the value of remaining open to compromise. We need to get involved. We need to talk about things instead of shooting, instead of hurting each other. It is very important to be involved peacefully. And then, of course, lastly, we need to be intentional, to be educated about all these things so that we can contribute better to a good society. So with that, Dr. Berg, I think those are some of the things that we could the values that we could promote in order to create a peaceful society. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Celozar. You've taken us on a whirlwind here of a few hundred years, and I'm sure many of our minds have been expanded by this, your statements, and will populate the chat box here with questions, I am sure. So wow. I really appreciate that. It's coming. Anyway, we are not through yet with presentations, and we have one more presenter this day, and that is Dr. Grace Selover. She is the Executive Secretary of PWPA International, which is the Professors World Peace Academy. Dr. Grace grew up in Taiwan, and she came as a student to the US and got her master's degree at the Unification Theological Seminary in New York, and earned her doctorate later on at the Sunhak UP Graduate University in South Korea, with a dissertation on emerging women's pastoral leadership. She has a passion for women's ministry based on the innate motherly empathy for family, community, and her Pentecostal background lends her to see the paramount importance of a mother's love in nurturing her children and providing services for the common good of others. She and her husband have 2 adult sons and 2 grandchildren. Dr. Grace, kindly unmute. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Berg. I'm very happy to join in today's webinar program and offer a presentation on women's roles in shared value society.
Yeah, your PowerPoint is up. Not yet full screen. There it is. Thank you. I think you must want to go back to the beginning. So click on a few more beginnings.
Also, Dr. Grace, there's arrow on the bottom left of your screen. You might want to just click that.
Oh, we got it. Thank you. Would you kindly unmute, Dr. Grace? I think we are missing your voice.
Good. So can I be heard now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, to say something first about women's role in general, I would like to begin with a well-known passage from the Bible, Genesis 1:27. In this passage, the creation process leads to human beings. So God created humans in his image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Women are designed by God with both life-bearing and the life-nurturing qualities. They are equipped with the mothering instinct, or we can call the mothering capacity, which will naturally flow and manifest in their care, concern, and hope for their children, including adult children. And this love is originated from God. Let's take a look at the Bible again. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often I wanted to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. From Matthew 23:37.
I think you, Dr. Grace, you clicked the mute button on yourself again.
It just pop out again. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is God, the heavenly parent's heart, the heart of a mother. The tender, loving, caring, sensitive heart to hope, heal, cure, comfort, consult, encourage, lift up, inspire, and resonate in her children. The nurturing nature that God grants woman to suit perfectly with her spirit and the body enables woman to care, encourage, inspire, lift up others, to bring about a wholesome, healthy, and harmonious relationship in her surroundings, including her family and her community. A mother plays an important role in her family as an emotional access, provider of physical nourishment, as well as supplier of spiritual vitality. Motherhood is an unchanging principle. In a certain way, the entire universe revolves around motherhood. A successful motherhood is the role to be played by love-centered women who are completely united with the Heavenly Parent's love, manifested by the love of Heavenly Mother, expressed in her divinity in femininity. This central role of a woman is vital to her family, society, and nations. The following statement from the Dr. Hat Jang Han Moon describes the ministry of motherhood vividly and tangibly. A sound, healthy family is the school of love and the virtue, and enlightened women are the center of the love, peace, and service that preserves the family. The starting point of world peace lies with the mothers at the center of such families, families that perfect and bring God's true love to fruition. The feminine aspect of God enhances and supports the woman's role in the community. Not only can they nurture the needy and spiritually fight a good fight like men do, but also they can embrace the discouraged and the lost, reach out to the weak and the disabled, comfort the isolated and the unappreciated, and provide unconditional care and support to the larger society. The society needs what a mother's heart can provide. Principled women can bring motherly perspectives and gifts to their immediate community. They can provide a more balanced and collaborative relationship environment. Together with men leaders in the society, they are the agents to bring positive change, harmony, cooperation, complementarity, and a dynamic team spirit to the society. Now, I would like to introduce the concept of shared value. Values can bring people together as well as separate people from each other. When a value is shared, people work together for common values and common goals. When a reciprocal relationship embraces and resonates love from both parties, then the value can be appreciated and shared. Such a value and the love through this relationship can be applied and promoted to a society. Let us take a look at the term of universal value. It refers to the idea of joint ethics which everybody in the society observes, practices, and promotes. This joint ethics is viewed as public righteousness that is impartial, moral justice, which is somewhat related to the divine righteousness that mentioned in the Bible. As people are sharing value on a daily basis, they can appreciate and promote universal value, especially women toward their families are in the position of nurturing, fostering, and guiding. Women can expand their spheres of inclusion by sharing universal values. Such value and love in this kind of relationship can go a long way toward overcoming barriers among people. This shared value society approach can also be applied on a national level, such as the issue between North and South Korea.
Dr. Grace, I
Yes.
don't know, are you still on the slide or are you ahead on the slides?
I'm going to change the slide now.
There you are. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
So both South and North Korea think that I am right. It is like the situation that two kids are fighting and they each think that they are right. What can we do? How can all Korean people share the Korean Peninsula? What can be helpful? How can we make this Korean Peninsula a peaceful world? Let us look back at the 1970s. At the time, North Korea was experiencing severe economic decline and faced bankruptcy. Even so, the North Korean government still spent a good portion of its budget on its military and the nuclear program, while the people were experiencing widespread starvation. In relating to North, South Korea created the Sunshine Policy, which was aimed to limit this gap in economic power and restore lost communication between these two states. In addition, the Sunshine Policy aimed to soften the North's attitude toward the South by encouraging interaction and economic assistance. The South did actually seek cooperation and reconciliation with the North. The goal for the South was peaceful coexistence with the North rather than regime change. The focus was on integration rather than absorption. In addition, the South attempted to refrain from all usage of the term of reunification. In 2017, after the election of Moon Jae-in as the president, the South Korea began reconciling with the North once more, beginning a revival of the Sunshine Policy. Moon Jae-in's effort in improving inter-Korean relationship results in 3 inter-Korean summits in a year, including 2 summits held in Panmunjom, which is April and May 2018, and 1 summit in Pyongyang in September 2018. In recognition of Moon's endeavor in inter-Korean relationship as the first president to hold multiple summits in a year, his vision of the Sunshine Policy became known as Moonshine Policy. Personally, I think to improve the relation between the South and North, an intentional effort has to take place. A willingness has to happen on both sides of this effort of South and North Korea's reconciliation. On the national level, people must intentionally create that context. I call that a parental approach for the sake of a higher intention. That means to have the attitude that I appreciate you, I support you for what you have is what I am lacking, and you can take a look at what I have, which you may be lacking. If we ourselves have some limitation or restriction, we will look out for better choices so that we can appreciate each other more and recognize each other more and be able to work together, coexist together. The two parties can be complementary to each other, then each can see the other value to oneself. Then each can appreciate the other. Both parties can coexist harmoniously, although each exists interdependently. This is what I call CHIP, C-H-I-P, the complementarily harmonious interdependent policy.
Well, I hope you enjoy those presentations by both of them. As you saw, Dr. Celozar spoke of values needed to create a peaceful society today, and Dr. Grace Selovar's presentation of women's role in a shared value society. And we can see, again, many women now stepping up to the role of leadership across America and around the world. So these are good signs of creating a more equitable society. And definitely we need that shared responsibilities, whether it's in the family, the society, the nation, or the world. So, and then at the end, she gave some hope for reconciliation of the Korean Peninsula using these principles. In the Universal Peace Federation, we talk about interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. So applying these, we can find the means for peace. And in conclusion, just to invite everyone to share your ideas and any contributions you'd like to make to this effort of global peace, please get in touch with us, and we can build a world of lasting peace together. And the Universal Peace Federation is working with many other organizations as well. So whether you're interfaith or parliamentarian or in the academic field, the business field, please get in touch with us. And if you'd like to study these principles further of interdependence, please give us a call. And if anyone is interested also in the biographies of our co-founders, Reverend Moon or Dr. Hak Chahan Moon, his wife, they are complimentary. Please give me a call. And thank you for joining us today.